I'm looking for our agenda.
Yeah, I was going to say, I'm going to let you drive. You just tell
Which
me.
means I have to find our agenda. Well, I know because we're waiting for a few folks to join us. If everybody, since we would normally go around, we have a big agenda today. So if folks could kindly put in the chat box who you are, where you are, and then any classes you're currently teaching or are planning to teach between now and the end of this year, 2020. That would be awesome, because that's where we want to start making sure that we've got everybody knowing who some folks are, because some of you I know probably don't know each other because you were in different cohorts and different classes. So if we could start by putting all that information in the chat box, that would be awesome.
I found the agenda, by the way, if you haven't.
Yeah, if you could send that to me, because I'm looking at like 15 other emails from me, so that would be helpful.
I'll send it to you right now. Okay, and the first thing I think on the agenda is just some announcements about upcoming coaching, upcoming courses, and things of that nature. So I don't know if we want to start with just Kristen talking a little bit about some of the upcoming courses.
That'd be
the
great.
courses that are starting today.
Shane's in the wrong meeting room, so I need to send him the.
Sure. Okay. So
there he is. He's here.
Oh, he's here. Okay, good.
Hi, Shane. So today we have 2 courses starting through the charter, and Mohammed is leading one of those. Cricket is on that, and Michaela, I don't think she's here. So there's the normal CIT through the charter that we've done many times.
There's Michaela.
Oh, good. There she is. So we have, I think, something in the 60-something participants signed up for these 2 different cohorts, which are 2 to 4 Eastern and 7 to 9 Eastern. And so there have been many rounds going out. And so this will be on Sutra. This will be our second actual CIT course using the Sutra platform. And we're working all those kinks out. But I don't know, I feel pretty good. I think we've gotten people in the right place. Michael's done some great videos to help navigate the platform, and that will make a huge difference. And after that, you know, as far as courses coming up, I think we're waiting till the new year for charter courses. So I'm not sure if people have individual courses, and but
yeah, and make sure, I know it's been a little wonky because of the pandemic and all such like that, but if you do have upcoming courses and you let us know through the portal, then we can put them onto the website and help promote them as well. So that would be great.
okay.
I would say we've got some folks that are putting their courses in the chat box. It's so wonderful to see. And most of these I knew about, but I'm so excited to see them all in one place besides my spreadsheet, because that's kind of very impersonal. So it's nice to see all of the conversation that's going back and forth with in the chat box with all the courses that are being facilitated right now and or coming up. And as Kristen said, we've got a couple of charter courses coming up starting in January of 21. So we're wrapping up we're starting a new charter course today. It's Wednesday. So starting today to those 2 courses today, and that'll be the end for 2020 for the charter classes, and then all of the classes that you are all facilitating. And so we're going to be gearing up for 2021. So I'm really excited about that. And I see a question about courses on the CSICE website. So I have not, that's Kristen and I have not put those on the website yet. So those are going to be added to the website, but we have not done that yet.
And is Teresa on the call?
She is not. She won't be able to
maybe
join.
Andrea, do we have any coaching updates? Thought I saw Andrea.
Yeah, I saw her. Maybe she dropped off. Is Kaylee? Yeah. Andrea, can you hear us? No.
Okay, we'll come back to that. But we are going to be starting a couple of coaching cohorts coming up. And so we'll get information circulated about that. And Andrea, hopefully before the end of the call, can tell us a little bit more about that.
From Teresa, the coaching cohorts are going to start in November. So after folks have had an opportunity to go through their CIT courses, they'll have an opportunity, and they can do that through the website. So the CIT webpage has information about coaching. And so folks can sign up at any time, either for individual coaching or group coaching. And the group coaching will start, for cohorts will start in early November. So they'll be able to join us after they've finished. For the folks that are going through the current CIT classes through the charter, they'll be able to join a coaching cohort in November. All right, so let's see.
I think next we're turning it over to Carrie, I think, to talk about Sutra.
I did see Andrea for a moment there. Andrea, sorry, for a moment there. I'm not sure if that was.
She's muted. She's muted, so I don't know if she's.
She can only,
I saw her pop up as if she were about to speak a moment ago. So.
She said she can only listen today. So
okay.
Next time. Okay.
Okay, great.
And we'll have more, by the way. We're going to be over in October. Now that we're getting ready to, we'll talk a lot about everything that we've been working on and launching. And we'll have a little bit of a lull in October. And in October is when we're going to start to think through kind of more long-term about how coaching fits in and how the self-directed learning course fits in and all of those things. And then we'll be presenting ideas to this body right here, the facilitators, for feedback and adjustments and tweaks and stuff. So a lot more to come on coaching and how you guys can take part in that. But without further ado, speaking of what we've been working on and launching, I was getting texts from Carrie at 4 in the morning, so I'm surprised she's even awake. Over to you, Carrie.
Okay, great. So everyone knows we've been working hard on Sutra, which is meant to be basically this global platform that'll help everyone communicate a little bit more easily, connect with each other more easily, ideally, across all of these different amazing cohorts that are doing amazing things. And ultimately, the hope is, of course, that it's a platform for sharing and connecting with each other for courses or for materials, basically anything that can make the CIT ecosystem more robust and more supportive of everyone who's a part of it. And luckily, that's exactly what Sutra was built for. So it's not just for courses. In fact, we've had some challenges building out certain aspects of courses because it's not particularly for courses. It's to create small group containers where people can connect with each other and go in and out of them and really have deep, meaningful connection. And with so many amazing people in the CIT ecosystem, I feel like that is just, it's what we need, right? Because it's hard to email each other. I mean, I look at all of your faces and I just, the ones of you that I know, I want to reach out. I want to talk to you. I want to hear what's going on, really, like more than in just a blurb in the chat. So I'm excited that we can start rolling out this facilitators community, which we've been slowly adding to, as y'all saw last month. We had already built out some of the shell of it. And it's not robust yet, it's not full, and we are still deciding how this will be moderated or facilitated itself, because this will obviously need either moderators or a moderator who is, you know, a deeply connected person themselves, and someone who, I call it a magical person, people who are very good at connecting people and bringing them together to spark conversation, spark ideation. And that's really how we want this to grow, right? We want people to be working together to help each other and to support each other in building out their own courses and bringing CIT to as many people as possible. So with that, let's take a look at this facilitator community. We've got the center area is really just for notices that will be coming from CIT to everyone. But from there, we go into our circles, which in Sutra, there's this concept of circles, which CIT, obviously, if you look on my left-hand bar, as the administrator, there are a lot of circles. These are all circles, and these circles are areas where everyone can meet. For those of you who weren't on last month where we talked about this. And those are areas where people can meet. So they can be areas where a lot of people can meet in like an auditorium setting. Those are some of the group discussion areas. And they can also be smaller circles, which you could think of as like a room, which could have a class in it, a class of 10. It could have a group of people who create a book club around compassion. It could be a group of people, which by the way, I hope we can do one of these days. I would love to have a global book club with y'all on compassion. So many of us are reading amazing things, and there's so much amazing literature happening every month, it seems like, that it would be lovely to do that. So I'm putting that out there into the universe as something that I hope for all of us. But anyway, so these circles are really like, it's almost like rooms that you can just pop up in different places in Sutra. And that's meant to support things like small groups getting together and saying, hey, we are really interested in the environment, or we're really interested in this conference that's coming up. And all of us plan to attend. And it would be lovely to, you know, to talk about what's coming up. And those are spaces that will be open for facilitators to create in the future. And those will be within this context. And right now, the way that this area, the facilitator community, is set up is between the certified FIT facilitators, the facilitator and training community. So that will be anyone who's either gone through cohorts already and wants to keep their container alive, so their groups or their cohorts alive. And also people who are in different parts of the FIT life cycle, if you will, like where they're either in training, as some of you are on this call, I recognize you, and also those that have completed their training. And then finally, we've got also a space for our online beta, which is pretty exciting. If some of you haven't checked it out, I recommend that you do. There's some really exciting things that are being exposed to our facilitators, things that we're doing for the Self-Directed Learning Project. And within each of these, and I know we don't have a ton of time, so I'm just going to really briefly glance over them. Within each of these, there are more circles. And for example, this the facilitator group discussion ultimately will have some special interest communities, which we spoke about very briefly last time. But here are some of them. And if we go up higher, there are also within our actual facilitator community, which is everyone who's certified as a CIT facilitator. The ultimate objective here is that this is full support for our facilitators. That means marketing assets, which our wonderful Cricket is helping create for the CIT community in an amazing way. The facilitator content, which right now we have on the website, and things like super CEs potentially, where amazing ideas can happen that can be integrated into ideation for making our critical insight moments in our facilitation that much more powerful. And also they could potentially be used as engagement pieces for facilitators who are actually facilitating using Sutra online. And I think we're probably out of time. I would love to go into more detail, obviously, into some of the other things that are happening in all of these circles. But the main thing is, well, I guess I'll mention one more thing about the facilitator and training community, which is exciting. And that is that we have some facilitators who hadn't completed all of their requirements, particularly their CE requirements for facilitation. And we now have a group of them, and they're amazing global change leaders. And we now have a support system for them where they're actually creating CEs together to complete that requirement. So it's pretty exciting. And with that, I'm going to hand it back over to our moderators and say, hopefully soon everyone can join and connect here in this facilitator space.
Thanks, Carrie. That was awesome. If you have not, because I know that there are some folks that have not been able to join the community yet. So if you haven't done that, please do so. If you're not really sure how to do that, you were sent an invitation to join, and it should be as simple as clicking on the link in that invitation. So if you're not sure where it is, or if you need some help finding that, just let us know and we'll be able to get you connected so that you can join our group in Sutra.
And
one of the,
oh yeah, and one of the things I was just going to mention, first of all, I can't express enough gratitude for Carrie and what she's done in order to make all this happen. It's just remarkable, and I think as we continue to build it, it's going to be such an incredible asset. Just to quickly answer Suzanne's question, what we're doing is like for the CEI, the Charter Education Institute courses, and some of the other courses that we're doing on there, we're building out the course on Sutra and building in tools to help people go through the course material. And as those things kind of get finalized, we're going to start making those available to facilitators as well, so that we're still figuring it all out, but sometime in the next 90 days or so, we're going to know what that's going to look like, and we'll have gone through an entire couple of courses ourselves with it, so we know where the bugs are and the issues are, or as Carrie says, the pain points, and we'll have smoothed some of that out. And then what we'll be able to do is hopefully set it up in such a way that if Suzanne says, hey, I'm launching a course in January, can you set me up a circle for my cohort? And we could do that, where we could give you an address to point your students to, and then they would be able to join a circle and have the course materials available and be in their own little discussion area. So that's all to come, but that's part of the power of the platform. So.
Yes. Yeah, I forgot to mention that. So we're actually getting to the end of a large pilot for the facilitator training, which is, it's a train the trainer course, so it's a little bit more complex. And that one is happening, and we are literally probably halfway through the creation of what will ultimately be just a functional unit for CIT facilitation, where there's online support. Basically everything would be built out, and then you as the facilitator or moderator could make the adjustments that you feel necessary for your cohort. But in general, that there would be a set of materials that could easily be rolled out for every one of your courses if you choose to use them.
Any other questions on Sutra before we turn it over to Cricket for some marketing updates? All right. Cricket, if you could please share some marketing updates and some exciting stuff that's going to be coming out for our facilitators to utilize, that would be awesome.
Hey, hi everyone. I'm going to share briefly today sort of branding guidelines, and those are going to be available to you today. I'm going to go fast because there's a lot of them, but it's really more of the idea, and then you can always reach out to me and I will help you see what, or help you with what you need help with. So the first thing is going to be, we're on social media. We've kicked off 2 more platforms, Twitter and Instagram. We'll be adding LinkedIn and opening up YouTube a little bit later. So if you want to connect, and I would like that very much, just this will be included in the branding kit. Also, our signatures, which you can customize with your own name. You know, there's one that says facilitator and there's one that's independent facilitator. Each of these logos can be customized to your own. So for instance, many of you have already got your own sites up, and we can do all of that here. Or if you have a particular quote, all of that can be built into the system. Some of this is just basic stuff. These are the attribution clauses, which you can use in your content on your website, or it has to do with materials and the trademarks of CIT. We have a Zoom background for you. Anyone that's interested, it's going to have the CIT logo here, can be customizable. I use Renee as my guinea pig here with your name and ideally your location. So that will be a generic version, as well as the ability for you to customize that. Then we have the logo, which all of you are familiar with. As you go through, we have various iterations. Now, 2 of these iterations we prefer. This one, which is CIT with compassionate integrity training here, and then the sort of shorthand version here. The rest of them are permissible and they'll be in the kit. It's just these are the 2 that we like to see the most often. This has a minimum size. I know you can't see this very well, and that's sort of the point. Don't go smaller than that. And then we go through the obvious improper use of logo, which we don't want there. This is our old logo. We don't want, I call this the no page because it's the nose. But these are things we don't want, we wouldn't want to see. And it's really just to promote branding consistency. So I'm sure most of you wouldn't do any of these things, but I have to put it there. This one's my personal favorite, the distortion one. So these are all things that, while they may be very artistic and creative, we probably don't want to do for branding consistency. These are your colors and hex codes, which some of you will use in your websites. It's nice to know kind of the background between these. See, this is CIT blue, light green, CCISE yellow, and then we have a nice calm gray. These are our font kits. A lot of the programs that you use will have free substitutes for these. So if you don't have this in whatever platform you're using, then you can ask me, or you can just ask for a substitute and Google will tell you what it is. Content. Now, I took this straight off of the MG-IEP guidelines, and I did attribute them, but just diversity, inclusiveness, things that we would be most interested in seeing there. I'm going to add words we like, words we don't. Most of this is just common sense, but it's important. So these are examples of photos. Like, we don't want to use blurry photos. We don't want to use photos where it's all, one gender or all one ethnicity. And then lastly, this will be available in a Dropbox. So basically you'll be able to have all of those logos that I've shown here individually. Most of them are going to be in PNG format, which means it's very easy to customize. We do have a couple of exceptions, which are still JPEG. And I'll see if I can get those updated for you pretty quickly. In the interim, just ask questions. You have my email. You can reach me on Sutra. Most of you know how to get to me. And I love helping. I love looking at whatever you have going on your personal sites, and I can answer a lot of questions. I will also be coming out with helpful hints for some of you who may not be that comfortable in social media or in how to market your website. So it's a work in progress. I'm still building it, and I'll just continue to update you as I go along. And I haven't seen any questions, so if any of you have questions, just get my attention.
And just to say that Cricut's doing that, as well as been working incredibly tirelessly on this whole launch of the self-directed learning program that we're going to talk about at the end. So unbelievable, huh? Incredible. Thank you so much, Cricut. And if anyone has questions, you can raise some now, or also reach out to Cricut directly.
All right. So I think our next information update is coming from Shane. So Shane, if you could provide us, of course you have to follow Carrie and Cricut, so I don't know how you feel about that, but they've got all this wonderful stuff. So I know
I'll tell you what, I'm not afraid to say I'm feeling wrecked, I'm feeling tired, but extremely inspired by all this work. So I think it's good to be honest, and yeah, I'm very grateful to have this session here because it's very energizing, and also grateful to have a CIT program to fall back on. But I'm not sure about how you're doing in your parts of the world. I'm wrecked here in Spain. My 2 daughters, I believe, may have COVID right now. Haven't slept in a few days and have a few broken ribs at the moment. So I'll do my best to try and keep up, but I'm not trying to look for pity in any way. I'm saying that, and yet I'm still feeling extremely grateful to be part of this incredible team doing incredible work around the world, and that includes everybody here, and not just the CIT inner core team. So an update from Global Education Network, is that what we're looking for here, Jen and Michael? Yeah, great. That's a nod is always good.
Jen wants an update on Jen.
Exactly, Jen wants an update on Jen. So we've just
every time I hear you guys say it, it makes me nervous. I'm like, wait, what?
We've just actually had our monthly GEN, which is the Global Education Network meeting. And I would love for every single member of this team, if you had the time and energy and passion towards education that so many do have, I'd love for you to all join that platform that we have on on Jen, on Sutra. And I do believe that everybody who is a CIT facilitator who's come through that training, 1 through 10, and then the facilitator training, I believe you are educators now. But more than that, I believe you have connections with people who are passionate about education and are educators, formal and non-formal, wherever that might be in the world. So please, please, please link out. If we can create a buddy system somehow for people to get on board, and this is the only way we're going to get it to as many corners of the world as we know it can be, and have a very positive effect on people. That's why I started off by saying I'm wrecked, but I'm happy to have CIT to be able to use in my daily life and not just talk about it. And so if it's okay to share just briefly the screen and see if we can, if it's possible for me to share my screen. I think it is. And yet I've got too many windows open, so apologies here. Okay, so I'm doing this live with one hand, and I should be using my two hands, but they're not all working right now. Apologies, folks. Can you, now, here we go. So in terms of Jen, where we're at and what we're doing, we're very privileged, and as quickly as I can, there's lots of facilitators on this call right now who are part of this and getting CIT through education around the world. But we've reached the over 500 mark in terms of educators around the world that have taken CIT and that are working throughout 54 nations, which is something that I'm really excited but also proud about, and that's pride across this group. We have presently we've got 174 educators that have come through CIT, and that's thanks to Andrea and her team of Spanish-speaking facilitators in Latin America. When I say Latin America, it's Colombia, but hopefully we're going to grow that number to a number of other countries. 211 across North America. Mainly that number was bumped up quite recently with the San Antonio cohort of educators, which was really inspiring for everybody involved in that. And I'm sure you've heard lots about that as well. 87 across Asia, which is very quickly going to grow because we have numbers that Michael and Jen, the rest of the team, can talk about. 3,000 plus young people are about to jump on our CIT program in the next coming days and weeks ahead. 44 across Europe. We need to do more in Europe, and we are doing more in Europe. And that number 23 in Africa is very soon, thanks to some of these facilitators on the call, going to be jumping up to another 40 minimum. But we have 40 places for CIT for educators starting in the 28th of this month across Africa, the 55 countries. But more than 550 applicants have applied for that, which is really, it's an incredible achievement to those involved. So that's Renee and Anam and Anyango that I think are all present here today, but there's more facilitators involved in that. It really is inspiring. And we as a team and a Global Education Network, we just need to keep that momentum going, not just across Africa, but for those that are interested and want to be engaged, it's our task to try and create that space for them to stay involved and get through CIT, whether it's in person as an aspiration in the coming year, maybe, whether it's online to our traditional, what we're calling traditional now, face-to-face in virtual reality, guided through it, or whether it's the self-directed learning, which you're going to be hearing about pretty soon. And another part of the Global Education Network is that we get people who have taken the course, Skills 1 through 10, involved in some way as educators or involved in education, but then we try and guide them through a number of different options. And one of the options is to take the facilitator training. So thanks to Jennifer, I think the number is right now around 26 members that have either taken the facilitator training or are currently on our new embodiment of facilitator training. That's a new exciting form of our facilitator training. Some people here might be taking that right now. I'm not going to bore people too much about what is the Global Education Network. It's a collaborative approach to how we can get CIT and those that have taken CIT to adapt and use CIT in their environment, formal, non-formal, informal, whatever effective education they're connected with, and using our partners as well. So we talk about C-learning and how the resources can be useful if that's your particular age group, K through 12. We have inputs from Think Equal, which are one of our partners right now. I'm going to stop this sharing for a second. One of our stronger partners, we had a meeting with them yesterday to build that partnership. And so they have lots of resources ready to work with young people, early years educators, but also in the classroom. They have quite a lot of resources, 22 publications that can be used right now. So if that's your age group, we want to get those materials to you as well. And then also through universities. So we'd love to, well, our aspiration is to connect with as many teacher training colleges around the world That's former teacher training colleges, but also youth work, social work, and different areas of education. We want to try and guide you through how to bring CIT as a useful process, as a useful education tool, but also as a tool for working in whatever environment you're currently working in. So that's our Global Education Network. We've got some real stars that are shining, but we want more of those stars shining around the world. And if we have potentially 500 members, one of the big tasks is how do we start those conversations on Sutra? How do we get people from wherever they are right now into these conversations and groups in Sutra right now? That from the conversations we've just had this morning, there's so much more happening that we don't even know about, and that's by design. We want things to be happening that we don't necessarily know about within the Global Education Network, but to gain energy and momentum and inspiration from those incredible people that we're lucky to be connecting with every day. And the youth within the Global Education Network, that's maybe a separate section that we can talk about, but today is a very important day for that particular launch of Sutra, and the new way, one of the new ways we're going to be trying to get CIT out to the world, with self-directed and a hybrid of self-directed and then live sessions, questions and answers sessions, Sutra guidance and support, conversations led by young facilitators, many of whom are on this call. And then we also have some live, we're calling them master classes that I'm sure will be mentioned here as well. So yeah, there's lots happening. I'm forgetting many things, but oh yeah, and just to mention also the languages. This is another part of the Global Education Network that we need your help in as well. So far we're working on, and thanks to Andrea and her team and Merida in Mexico as well. We have a translated version of CIT in Spanish. Thanks to Anya and her team, we have that version in German. And obviously we have it in English, but we're working on getting CIT translated for education and beyond education in Arabic very soon, or as soon as we possibly can, and many other languages to reach those corners of the world. So we're just starting, but the momentum is there, as we want to keep it as positive and energized as possible. And I'll put my email address again in the chat here, but I'm open to answer any questions and also assist you in terms of how do you persuade, how do you invite people that you're connected with, that you know will be fantastic members of this Global Education Network. How do we get them on board and get the conversations going? Back over to our moderator.
Yep, thanks, Shane. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, our next update is Michael and the Global Lesson and SDL program.
Yes. So for any questions for Shane on that, and of course, everyone can email Shane at compassionateintegrity.org in order to ask him questions. But yeah, this is, as always, this is a global effort. So we need as much help as we can get reaching schools, reaching teachers with all of these things. And speaking of outreach, so for those who are not aware, Monday is the day. So Monday is the International Day of Peace, the UN's International Day of Peace. Maybe more importantly, it's also the day that we launched the Global Lesson in Social Emotional Learning. And that will be Skill 1. It'll be orientation and Skill 1 from the brand new self-directed learning version of CIT. We very quickly, after the initial marketing blast, got over 3,000 people from around the world. It's primarily targeted as young people, 18 to 34, but it's really open to anyone. And I would, if you haven't already, I would recommend that you go to life.edu/SEL and enroll, because it's both free and you'll get all the emails and marketing and all that kind of stuff that builds up to it. But after we got the initial push, we kind of said, we originally were just like, let's blow the doors off this. But then when we saw the uptake, we were like, okay, slow down a little bit. We want to make sure people have a good experience of this. And particularly because of the platform that we're using through UNESCO, which can be a little wonky in how you join that platform, and it can be a little difficult. We wanted to make sure that we had all of the guardrails in place to make sure that we were able to get people on board and happy so that this initial batch of folks are going to be happy and experiencing it in a really positive way, so that they can be a word of mouth and we can kind of see what we have. Having said that, we're not doing any huge blast, and there was a couple of really big networks of like 100,000 youth around the world kind of thing that approached Able, who is our partner that we're working with at UNESCO, and said, we would love to blast this out to our whole network. And we said, no, wait, like give us 10 people and so they can see it, but we'll wait. So we're expecting the numbers to stick around 3,000, except there's two things that are going to happen on Monday that could increase enrollment for a little bit. One is we're doing a something called a moment as part of the Peace One Day Foundation's programming, which is apparently Jeremy Gilley is the founder of the International Day of Peace, and he does this program on the 21st of September every year, and apparently it gets millions of people from around the world tuning in. And we've got a 5-minute slot where three of our youth facilitators and Shane are going to be telling everybody about the global lesson in SEL and about CIT, et cetera. So we might get some people who enroll from that. The other thing we're doing on the 21st is the first of a series of what we're calling master classes. And again, this is all going to be run by our youth facilitators, many of whom are on the call. And we're going to be doing a master class around what is CIT and what is this SDL version. And then depending on when the master class is, it'll cover whatever material is available out there. So for example, on Monday, we're going to do a 2-hour master class that is going to be all about Skill 1 and the launch. In October at the World Youth Conference, we're going to do another master class that will probably be around skills 1 through 3 or something of that nature. Then in December, we're at the Tech Conference, we're doing another master class that will also cover up through hopefully the end of Series 2. And so we're going to have these master classes spaced every month or so between now and the end of the year. In between that, every week to 2 weeks, depending on when it falls in the calendar, our youth facilitators are going to be leading live Q&A sessions. So they're going to be leading 1-hour live Q&A sessions that are going to be so we can answer people's questions around what they're experiencing during the course, give us feedback, all of those things. All of this is kind of put in place so that we have an infrastructure to support people who are going to take the course. And the last thing I will let me show you on the support plan is actually, where is it? I had something different I was going to show you first, but now I'm going to show you this. So as Carrie showed you, she's done an incredible job of building out Sutra. But one of the things that's going to happen in Sutra, actually some point today, we're going to be sending out an email to everyone that's enrolled, asking them to join this circle, which is a circle co-sponsored by us, obviously, but also MGIEP and the Charter for Compassion. And it will be the place that we're telling people to go to build community, to ask questions, to stay engaged. And again, this is all going to be managed by our youth facilitators. They're going to be moderating these circles. And if you click on, the chat is a space for general conversation. If you click on circles, you'll see this beautiful space here that Carrie and our facilitators have created. And if you go, for example, into the masterclass, it'll show you what's coming up on the masterclass with the video link to the masterclass. You'll see that Anyango and Anoki and Shane are going to be our facilitators for that first masterclass. We'll then post more information about upcoming masterclasses. Again, the Q&A sessions, we have Michaela and Shane, and I believe one other person is going to be joining this Q&A session, again with a video call. And then we have, and I'll show you in this view. What we're also going to do is, in order to try to create engagement, we're also going to have these circles that are focused on particular domains. And people can select, they can pop in and out of these if they want, they can join these, they can form smaller circles within these. And our youth facilitators and Shane have identified moderators for each one of these that will be creating conversation around CIT and these particular domains to try to keep people engaged as we both introduce them to skill 1, but then hopefully keep adding additional skills to it. So this would be a place that we can build out a global forum for information about the self-directed learning course. So that's kind of the launch plan, and I got a couple more things to say about it, but I wanted to stop for a second and just see if anyone had questions about the support plan we have in place, the launch plan, and all of that. And I hope everyone here will both take part in the launch, but as well as share it widely with folks. I don't know if there was a question in the chat. I haven't looked at the chat in a while.
When does it go live, Michael?
What's that?
When does it actually go live?
That's a great question. It goes live Monday. What time it goes live, I'm not exactly sure. We're still trying to figure that out. So luckily the launch, the official launch of CIT online is actually, this is the global lesson, but the launch is happening on October 24th, I believe, as part of the World Youth Conference. And I just found out that, and the launch was initially going to happen at 2:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, but I just found out we're going to record it, so that's good. Okay, so one other thing I wanted to show you in relation to this is, as was already mentioned, let me move people's faces around. If you go into our facilitator circles, where is that? There it is. If you go in here and you click on circles, you'll see a circle here at the bottom called CIT Online Beta. What we're trying to do is we're trying to share these modules with you first so that you're the first people who get to see them and give us feedback. We received some really great feedback on orientation and skill 1 and have already incorporated that in. So if you come here, you'll see this is a space here for us just to update you on kind of where we are. So for example, this morning I updated 2 modules and I just wanted people to know that. And so this will be a place for us to kind of let you know about what's happening with that. If you click on the circles button, you'll see orientation and skill 1, calming body and mind. This orientation, as you'll see. By the way, props to Cricut for doing a really good job of animating that logo. So you've got that. The other thing is if you go back, so you can walk through the animation, not the animation, you can walk through the course orientation, and we also, where did it go? If you go to skill 1, calming body and mind, you'll again see that. And what we did just today was we added, for those who remember, we were working on getting the videos done. And so we got sample videos for the introduction and the tracking. And then we basically decided between those 2 vendors, and we picked one vendor, and they're now moving light speed to get the last 3 videos done. And so if you look in the most current version, you'll see, by the way, if you want to.
Welcome to Skill 1 on calming body.
You'll see that we've got the first couple videos. By the way, as I put into the box, into the discussion before this, we know that under the moderator's name, it says compassion integrity training, and I've already notified the videographer of that. They won't make that mistake again, but just, you don't have to, tell me it. Here's a quick sample of what we're working on.
Let's say you're about to set off for a fun weekend getaway. Your bags are packed. The tank is full and you hit the accelerator. There's traffic on the road, but you're not worried. You'll reach the highway soon and go full throttle. However, 30 minutes into your drive, the check engine light blinks on. This has happened a couple of times in the past week, but it's never created a problem. So you continue on your journey. Oops, that was a mistake. The car's engine sputters and you slow to a stop. Now you're wondering why you didn't pay attention to the warning lights last week. Just then, the driver behind you starts honking. What's your problem? You shout back. Stimuli have the ability to push anyone into an aroused or low state. But you can learn to read your bodily cues. Identify when you're about to lose your sense of equilibrium. Take a moment to pause and choose your thoughts and actions with clarity and stability. The nervous system reacts to external and internal stimuli very quickly. Difficult emotions or thoughts usually begin as bodily sensations and are often leading indicators of stress, anxiety, fear, and depression. Developing mindfulness, compassion, gratitude, and common humanity. So, let's get started, shall we?
Calming our body and mind starts with observing.
So there we go. So you'll be able to look at those. There's a tracking video in that one now, which looks a little bit different than that one because it was created by the other vendor, and we're working now with the current vendor to kind of revamp it to make it at least, have the same intro and outro and all that kind of stuff. But anyway, so we've got a resourcing video, a car as a metaphor for the autonomic nervous system video, and a grounding video. All of these are meant to be 2 to 3 minutes, but then fill in the content that's already there. So we'll also be able to use these videos outside of the course. So for example, these may be things we're still trying to figure all of it out, but it may be something where if you're giving a course, you might want to integrate them into your presentation, or you might want to put them on your website so that your students, your participants can go and check out, oh yeah, I forgot about what tracking is, and go watch a short video, that kind of thing. So these are all going to be resources. There's going to be about 40 to 50 of them in all, and integrated into the overall course. So anyway, that's kind of a real brief jump on Sutra, go through the modules, send us your feedback. I'm not sure how much will get changed between now and Monday, but we're going to be tweaking it all the way along and rolling it out. Any questions?
If people wanted to suggest for young people or folks that they know that would still want to jump on board, is there space? It may be covered already, but the application process is still open for a few latecomers to our global call or SEL course coming up, Michael.
Wait, for the launch on Monday?
For the launch on Monday, for the Sutra launch today, in fact, of our.
Oh yeah, no. There are currently spaces still available for the Charter for Compassion courses that we're launching today, so we can still squeeze people in last minute. So if you know of anybody that would like to take it, let us know, and we can get them the correct information, and maybe Kristen or Jennifer can put into the chat about that. And then of course we got lots of space on the global lesson, so hopefully we can get lots of people to still join that launch and create the buzz that we want around that launch.
Michael, if I could, I'd also like to share that Sutra is running a transformational teaching online that I just recently joined. So anyone who's interested in facilitating using Sutra for their CIT courses, I think that course is filling up. It starts, I think, next week. So anyone who's interested, have a look. It's very cool.
Thanks, Carrie. A couple other quick things before people go. One thing I just want to mention is that so many of you are doing such great work out there, and number one, we honor that and we are grateful for that. We don't necessarily get to see it all the time. Some people get to interact more with you than others, and so they see it more firsthand. So number one, I just want to make sure that everyone knows how grateful we are for the work you're doing. One person I get to see a little bit more who hasn't, I see their work, but they haven't gotten to share what they're doing. I just wanted to shout out to Renee, because Renee is, who can wave. I don't know if everyone knows Renee, but Renee, everything that we've updated you on today, Renee's been a part of. So she's been in the conversations about Sutra and facilitator training and the launch of the global lesson and just providing her guidance and input. So obviously the people who got to speak today, who shared, they're also very, very involved in it, but I just wanted to shout out to Renee because we are all the beneficiaries of all that directly. So thank you, Renee. The other thing I wanted to just mention at the end is a couple of things about networks. And so the first is, clearly our work with the Charter for Compassion continues, and we're really grateful for that relationship. Last week, we had an opportunity to present to the board about the work that we're doing, particularly in education, and that we felt went really, really well, and are trying to continue to figure out with them how we work together across the globe. We have meetings every other week with their leadership, so that's still incredibly important. The other two things is, I think I might have mentioned on a previous call that we were invited to join the Global Collective for Social Emotional Learning and Digital Pedagogies, I think is what the formal title is, which is an intergovernmental group that has about 6 governments as well as stakeholders through MGIEP. And we have joined that and have participated in a couple of meetings of that already, which is really great in terms of elevating our exposure and the work that we're doing. And as well as we just received an invitation through actually relationships that were created through that with the Karanga Global Alliance for Social Emotional Learning and Life Skills, which is I think it's based in Europe, but it's a global collective that is, again, got a lot of the right people involved. And so we're going to be joining that collective as well, as a way of continuing to amplify the work and amplifying the work of others. So we keep growing, and it's wonderful. Any questions or last minute things? We got another 5 or 6 minutes. Okay, I think that might be it. Thank you guys so much. This has been wonderful, and we're so excited. Anything else anyone has to say?
Michael?
Yes.
Yeah, just Charlie Barker, Chair of the Charter Board. Just want to say how much to this group who weren't at the Network Planning Committee last Thursday. The presentation that you and Jennifer and Kristen presented was fantastic. We're excited to have CIT as a best business practice as the Global Education Network moves forward, working with Think Equal, C-Learning, CIT, and other organizations around the world to make sure that compassion is at the forefront and of our transformation to a better society. So I just wanted to make that comment to all of my fellow facilitators and to thank you all for all that you do. It's just exciting to work with you. So thanks, Michael.
Thank you, Charlie. We value that relationship. Yeah, Suzanne.
I was actually just going to ask a question to Charlie. How do we get into the Charters Education Network?
Well, right now it's formative. We are slowly gaining individuals or adding individuals to the network. I'd love for you to email me or give me a call, and we can talk about how you can become a part of it. But it's very formative right now, and excited about all of the people who are coming on board. Eventually, we're going to have to sort out, well, exactly how are we going to continue to move forward, because this is a new resolution from the Charters Board that we are going to laser focus on education and training of compassion rather than all of the other things that we do. We're not letting those go, but we want to focus on the education area. So Would love to have more conversation with you and see if you're interested. We'd love to have you on board. So maybe give me your email in the chat or something, and I'll save the chat and we can communicate. Thank you.
Everybody, we look forward to seeing you soon or next month, whichever comes first. Be well, everybody.